obviously the last time out, I think they haven't played, have they? They got their game postponed last time out.
I think the last game they played at the weekend and they lost to West Ham, didn't they?
That's right, 4-1. They lost 4-1 to West Ham after taking the lead after 5 minutes. But apart from actually, they've beaten Man United 4-1.
Yep.
And they've lost every other game, I think, under Ranieri.
Everton, they won.
They beat Everton. Feels like a long time ago. They won 5-2. But other than that, they've literally lost every game. So looking at this game, obviously we drew quite a damaging result against Southampton, 1-1. How important is it that we have to get the win? First of all, to get Conte that first win away from home in the Premier League, which he hasn't actually had yet. Because the longer that goes on, the longer you feel like, is this really an issue away from home? Because our home form's pretty good. We actually, I think we're third in the home table and we're 13th in the away table. So there really is contrasting form. But even though, Watford aren't the best, it's still very important that we put that result that we got against Southampton right straight away, because if we drop more points, then all of a sudden that narrative is like it'll be unbeaten in 8, or even if we draw, it'll be unbeaten in 8, but that's 4 wins, 4 draws. All of a sudden it's not so many wins, and all of a sudden you get the feeling like, is top 4 actually possible? So, what's your feeling going into it? How important is it for you we put that result right that we didn't get on against Southampton?
Yeah, it's absolutely. I think you've covered it. It's absolutely massive that the result against Southampton was clearly 2 points dropped. But they've got to get rid of this, drawing away from home, and especially when you look, it's Chelsea Wednesday. You want to be able to come on the back of that with a resounding victory at Vicarage Road. And look at it, they've got injuries and everything, but from that point of view, it's all about us doing what we do, and it's scoring those goals and winning that game. It's massive.
It is. Do you see Watford? They're a side which, especially under Ranieri, there's lots of goals usually in their games. Very attacking side, very open. They usually leave the back door wide open. But, with Emmanuel Dennis up front, he's one of the form strikers in the league at the moment, isn't he? Is he a player? I know he's only been at Watford 6 months, but do you think Tottenham should be looking at him?
I 100% do. I 100% do. I've been saying this for a little while. He looks a real menace, whether it be playing from the wing, whether it be more prominently up front. He looks like him and Sarr are the 2 key players, but I think he's been outstanding. But what I will say is with Watford, a couple of years ago, last season at the Lane, we played them on New Year's Day and beat them 4-1. 2 goals from Kane, 2 goals from Dele. We've got to get a win here. This is like going to Watford. This has got to be the easiest 3 points. It should be we should have a great performance. We should really set a marker and say, right, this is where we are. But like you said, they're so Jekyll and Hyde, and probably the one we don't want to see turns up tomorrow.
Yeah, you never know. You'd think as well, losing 4-1 at home to West Ham, they're going to want a reaction to that defeat as well. But looking at their form in their last few games, they really are a team who are completely out of form. 5 out of 5 losses in the last 5 games. So they've really struggled. They've lost every game since beating Man United 4-1. So they're really coming into this with not a lot of momentum. Ismaila Sarr, obviously their main player, he's on the injury list. He's not going to be playing.
So 9 of them.
There is 9 of them, but he's the headline. Danny Rose as well, who looks like he won't be making a appearance against Spurs. But Sarr was their danger man, wasn't he? He's the one where you're really worried about. Obviously, you've got Dennis as well, who's been in great form. But he was, at the beginning of the season anyway, their danger man. And him being out, you got to think, how many... we should have enough in this game to get over the line. But I guess we did think the same against Southampton. So do you think we could risk underestimating them in this one if because we got a few injuries as well, so we're not going to are we going to make many changes from the game against Southampton?
I think with this one, I think Ollie Skipp has to play. I think we started to see now, even Højbjerg, who I love dearly, and I know Curse is in the chat, who is absolutely obsessed with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Even he is looking at a different player without Skipp. I think we're starting to see with Ollie Skipp, him being out makes such a huge difference to the way we play. He's been so fantastic for us. I think he has to start, because he is dominating games and running games. I think him starting is a huge key to us getting 3 points. I think he's that important right now.
Do you think, when it comes to team selection, the game against Chelsea comes into mind when you look at this one? Or you just think you can't look too far ahead?
I think it's a case of similar to Palace, is you go out, you get the result early on, and then you can take your foot off the gas. But I agree with Brian. I think Skipp has to come back. I think Skipp and Moore will come back in, and then it's just all about that first half performance. Hit the ground running, get the result, and then you can start thinking about the Chelsea game, which is obviously huge coming up.
Yeah, we play at Stamford Bridge in midweek, and then a Carling Cup semi-final. Big chance for us to get a trophy. So I'll be interested to see when, because we are taking callers, by the way. The rendezvous link is in the community section for all our members. So if you want to call in and give your opinion on anything we talk about, then it is in the community section. But it'll be interesting to see how Conte approaches this game from that perspective. He is going to rest players. There should be, from Saturday to Tuesday, enough time to rest, shouldn't they? So should be able to play full team in both games. But when you look at selection headaches, because of injuries, Bergwijn being out,
he
was out for the weekend. Sessegnon, he's not going to be fit. I know Lo Celso's back in, he's fit, but Romero only returned to light training. So there aren't many, you can probably pick the team, to be honest. If it's 3-4-3, you can probably know what it is going to be, because we have a few injuries. We're with it being on New Year's Day and in January, any chance? Do you think we might have seen the last of Ndombele and Dele Alli in a Spurs shirt, or do you think with them potentially looking to leave this window in this month?
Yep.
Is it a case of we play them to put them in the shop window, or is it a case of we don't play them in case they do get a move and an injury could scupper that?
I think for me, Dele's performance against Southampton told every Tottenham fan exactly what they already knew, that I wouldn't have him anywhere near the side now. I think he's, if he's going to go, just let him go with your blessing. Thanks for a few good years, and Tanguy just feels nowhere near. And if you listen to Conte's comments yesterday, it doesn't sound like he's got much of a future at the club. So just a case of moving them on, isn't it?
Well, Dele, as me and Stel say, whenever I said after Liverpool, he's back, I was like, no, he's not. He's done this before, where he has one game, and then obviously we did it against Man City, where he ran the most. It was like, woohoo, look, he's ran the most. And it was like, okay, yeah, very good. I put a tweet out yesterday basically saying if Dele Alli was to bring out that Gareth Bale flag, it would say gaming endorsements Tottenham in that order. Out the door. Bye-bye. Enough. Too many times, too many excuses, too many failures. And Ndombele, I think he's out the door. But I think with him, you're probably going to get him a loan deal with maybe an option to buy it. I don't think you're going to see someone come in with his track record and say, right, we want him, here's a considerable amount of money. But the main
because we probably on Ndombele, we're going to have to take a loss, aren't we? We could have to accept that, but how much of a loss do we take? Is it a case of, and it's not only the transfer fee he paid, 60 million, 55 million, whatever it was, he's also a joint highest paid player. Yeah. 200 grand a week. So I think it's purely just because of his wage, we're probably going to have to put him on a loan deal. Because we're going to have to convince someone that this guy is worth the money, anywhere near the money that we paid for him, and to convince someone to take on his wage and a big portion of the transfer. Let's say we're not going to accept any less than around 30 million, are we? Let's be honest, at least. Levy, is going to want most of his money back. He's not going to accept anything less than 30. I'd be very surprised. So I think the only way Ndombele leaves is on a loan, and then if the loan goes well, then that club might be convinced to buy him.
So what I will say with this window is, we know it's opening up, we know how important it is, and we are going to see, first of all, it's very important to see who Conte's allowed to bring in, and if it's Conte that's actually, or Paratici that's actually getting the players, or again, if it's a certain person whose name won't be mentioned because Cody's already clipped me. So it's not just about that, we're going to see if these players are allowed to leave, and if they are allowed to leave, for what money. Because obviously, as you said, he's going to want to get as much money as he can, and we know you can't get 60 million or whatever it is for Ndombele again. If we get a £30 million bid, I think Conte would take it. I think we would take it, and would be like, let's just get him off the wage bill. But then we're going to see if it gets sanctioned, if it's allowed. So we're going to learn a lot from the next 4 weeks, and I think it's just as important to see who we get out the door and for what price, as opposed to who comes in.
Are you anticipating a busy January, Phil? Is that what you're thinking? Or are you
thinking-
been burnt too many times?
Yeah, basically, I think Rumour City will go bonkers for us.
Yep.
I think possibly 2 to 3, but I could possibly see some loan signings potentially coming in just to last us through till the summer. But I think you're right. It could be as much about your outgoings as well. If you're talking Tanguy, it's 10 million a year off the wage bill. So it's, if he does go on loan, do we then subsidise that like Rail did for the Bale? There's so much going on, but I'm just hoping some of these deals are already done, and the second we wake up tomorrow, you start getting some announcements. It's like,
I wouldn't get too excited.
I'm ready to tweet Spurs at 12:01 and say, have we signed anyone yet? And then at 12:02 and at 12:03.
I wouldn't put it past you, Brian. Wouldn't put it past you, Brian. When it comes to looking at this game, so we all think we're going to go with a 3-4-3, just go more attacking again, like we did against Palace. That is probably the more attacking formation, isn't it? You got to think. So, is it like when you look at Watford, and how they've done under Ranieri? Are you worried about them in terms of how they can hurt us, or especially with Sarr missing, or do you think it doesn't really matter what Watford turn up as long as Tottenham focus on themselves, will be all right in this game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, clearly showing on the stat, Watford are still scoring goals. They've scored 6 goals in the last 5 games, but it's their conceding. And the bottom line is we should have enough class in any 11 that we put out to be able to take this victory. So it just comes down to, for me, the attitude of the players and just going out and getting the job done. Just got to be a business-like performance. Just go get your result, move on.
And with obviously with Watford leaving the back door open, it means we've got to make sure Kane and Son and Lucas probably on top form. Kane now 3-3.
Yep.
What's your thought? Because obviously, a lot was said about Harry Kane during the beginning of the season. Since Conte's come in, I personally think there's been a big improvement in his performances, and now he's starting to score again. Do you think that all the talk of him healing and stuff is that now gone, or do you think there's still lingering?
So it's the first of all I'll mention. First of all, get ready for a worldie from Sissoko. You just know.
Yeah,
you
know that.
You know it's coming. You know it's coming now. With Harry Kane, obviously, people will know I was very, very vocal, and especially when we were at the game of Simeon as well, when I was over here for Chelsea Villa, I was appalled by his performances. I was appalled by his attitude. I was appalled by everything. But like I said, I'm always very, very quick to criticise, but I'm also man enough to say, do you know what, there's been a change. And under Conte, there has been a substantial change. And do you know what? I obviously didn't get to go to Southampton because I wasn't feeling too well, but when I watched the highlights, the way he scored that goal that was onside, was onside, that finish was world class. The way he just put that ball down and the way he did, that was what Harry Kane does. When we went to Palace on Boxing Day, he was brilliant. And you could just see, even with that tackle against Liverpool, you can see his dedication, his commitment, his attitude. Everything is either way he's running and he's tracking back and everything is remarkably different. And apparently he's super happy now. Conte's had the word, like Mourinho did on the documentary, go, listen, you're the number one, stay. And now we've matched his ambition, which is all he wanted. Show me that you're going to match my ambition, and you can't really match more than saying, here you go, have Antonio Conte. And I will say Harry Kane right now is, I won't say back to his best, but he is certainly on the way back there. He certainly is.
And do you think Man City still come back in for him?
No.
What do you think, Phil?
No, I don't. I think they'll look further afield. Unfortunately, possibly Vlahovic or Haaland, but I think Kane's staying now. And
do you reckon he'll sign a contract?
Yes.
I think within the next 3 to 6. I think before the end of the season he could, because I think his options of going anywhere else aren't really there, and then he looks around at what he's got. But for me, the best thing about Kane is the moment when he's getting in these chances now, we're confident that he's going to score. Brian said that second goal that he would have scored against Southampton was just absolutely phenomenal. But it was like just control, shot, goal, brilliant. Back to the Harry Kane that we've known and loved.
Do you think if we don't get top 4 this season, though, if he hasn't signed a contract before the end of the season and we don't get top 4, do you reckon in the summer it's still he'll have 2 years left on his contract, and if he says, look, we're not in Champions League, I don't know if I want to sign. Still, it'll be 3 years out of the Champions League. What do you think Tottenham do in that scenario?
if it comes to that scenario, then do you know what? He's probably had another gentleman's agreement. So we'll see if that gets honoured. Listen, do I think we'll get top 4? The way other teams are playing right now, it's the door's open for us. And it's for us, based on January, to really try and cement that place. I think as long as, like Poch, Larry said with Poch, as long as he's there, I go nowhere. And I think that's the same with Harry Kane and Conte. I really do, because we may not get, I still don't think we'll have a busy window. We may get 1, maybe 2, but whether they're the levels we need, that's a talking point. But if Conte says stay, listen, I guarantee you in the summer I will get this done, he stays, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to stay now as well. And I think him not getting his move in the summer, I think now that might mean actually he might stay at Tottenham for the rest of his career, actually. I think there's now a chance of that happening. Yep. Now we have Conte. I think, as I said before, I don't think Kane actually wanted to leave. I think he felt he had to leave. And that's how I felt about him in the summer, which is why, as much as he did try and force it, it was kind of a half-hearted attempt to force it. It was never like a full-on, like, because, you know, before the end of the window, he was already playing again, wasn't he? Once he realised the move probably wasn't going to happen. So as much as he did try and make the move happen, I've seen the players go a lot further than he did to try and make it happen. And I always felt like he never wanted it to come to this. It was just Tottenham weren't going the direction he wanted it. He always said as long as Tottenham were going in the right direction, he's happy to stay. And we weren't. And we weren't, once he forced to stay, we still weren't going in the right direction. That's why his performances were indifferent. But I think now that we got Conte through the door, another player who matches his mentality, I think first of all, I can't see us selling Kane while Conte's in charge, because Conte wouldn't accept that. Conte, one of the main reasons he's here is because of Kane, you know, because we kept Kane. That's probably one of the main reasons he's here. And I also don't think Kane forces a move by any stretch of the imagination while Conte's in charge, and he's going to have to do that if he wants a move. He's going to have to really force it, because Tottenham aren't going to sell cheap, or even be willing to sell at all in some cases, because Levy said he wasn't for sale. So I think unless he doesn't sign a contract, I can't see him leaving anytime soon now.
If you look at it with Harry Kane, the way I've looked at it is for the entire time up until last summer, he obviously has been given targets, and he sets targets for himself, and every single year he comes through for Tottenham. 20 plus goals, 20 plus goals, 20 plus goals. Model professional up until last summer, like absolute, never in the front pages. And if it is, it's because England have done well or Spurs have done something. He's a manager's dream, and he was always hitting his targets. And then obviously he's saying match the ambition, and he was lied to. Nothing really happened. It was him carrying us. Obviously, Son became and their relationship, which is obviously, as the last few games, you can see it started to get better. Them two together again, and Kane always delivered, and Parasite didn't. So I think, like you said, he was. He didn't. I don't think he wanted to. He needed to, and as long as Conte's there, he's going to get everything he needs. He's going to get everything he needs, because he knows he's got a manager that wins, and let's just hope that a certain person delivers.
Yeah, for me, I think there's a part of it last summer it was a shout to the board to come and do something here. We've got all the foundations here to be able to do something. What we just need now is some better players, a better squad. And maybe that was a shout, but obviously it didn't come out the right way, I don't think, for him. Yeah,
but hopefully things have changed now. And I think his performances on the pitch are showing that things have changed with him and with the mentality of the squad. We've got some super chats to get through.
Let's do them.
Let's read them. The Truth Sets Free says, "We love you, Big Bob Spur," with a heart emoji. Big up to you, Truth Sets Free. Dark Sunji 21 says, "We'll beat Watford 5-0. We'll beat the Blues in the semi-final because they have no Mendy, Chilwell, Reece James or Silva. And 2, they have to play Liverpool while we face Watford. The Gooners will lose to City and to us." Well, that would be nice. That would be nice.
He's normally a good statistician, him. So
Dark Sanji, if that's what he's saying.
Taking that.
All right.
That's what he said. That's gospel. So
brilliant.
You heard it here first.
There you go. Kuva99 says, "Brian to wet shave his head as dressed like Daniel Levy to the Watford game. If you hit 100k today, I'm sticking by my suggestion.
Oh, you mean the watch along here? Yeah, no problem. No problem. No problem. I thought that was actually.
Bring your bring your
bring
your equipment tomorrow.
So, okay, let's see. I could do.
The true sets free says 100 on the left butt cheek, K on the other cheek.
Yeah, there's no more tattoos. I've been told adamantly by my.
Okay, don't tattoo it. Just like burn it into your skin. How about that?
Simeon, I'm not liking this side of you here. Where's this come from?
Trying to think of suggestions.
Yes,
no tattoos, no ink.
No tattoos, no ink. Nothing, like literally shaving my hair. Fine. Anything that's permanently on my body anymore. I don't want a divorce in 2022, so I'm going to refrain from those.
And Moondog says it's okay moving them on, but who would want them? I think he's talking about Dele and Ndombele. Yeah. You think there's going to be a lot of suitors for them, or not? All like
for Dele?
Apparently they don't want him.
No.
That's how bad
that's what I've read.
That's how bad this has become.
I did hear PSG was still interested in
Dele.
Dele. Poch is still an admirer, but again, if you look at their front three, you're asking the question of where's he going to fit in there? Because if he can't fit in at Tottenham, it's going to be a struggle. But I think that's going to be a real challenge for us to get him out.
Can you just imagine Dele's ego, and he's in a room with Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, Ramos, and all that. Dele Alli will get knocked out. Dele Alli will be like, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" That would be interesting.
A different player who looks set to stay is Harry Winks, who's put in 2 great performances in my book. His last 2 starts against Liverpool and now Southampton, where I thought he was the best player on the park for me. He, according to Conte, he said he's a player he now trusts and he can count on. He's another player come in for a lot of criticism. What's your take on whether we should still be looking maybe to get him out and upgrade him, or is he now worth sticking around and having him in the squad?
For me, I think he has improved. He's probably in a system that fits with him. I think he's okay for now till you get to the summer and there are better people available. I think your likes of Kessie and stuff coming in would be an upgrade, but for January and with what he's delivering at the moment, I think he's going to stay for now.
So Harry Winks is another player that I was very quick to, again, another player that not just me, a large majority of Spurs fans were adamant that needs to go out. And the last few years he has not been good enough. But you know what? The last 2 performances, playing in the position that he prefers, he has stood out. He has stood out of that. When we did a show on Tottenham on tour regarding the players with Conte and the players coming out, I said, you know what? If there's one player that will probably get the get out of jail free card and get another, it's going to be Winksy. And you cannot knock, again, I'll say again, people that are very, very quick to criticise these players, especially like when it's a Winks or a Dyer or a Sanchez or a Davies, and they're like, oh, he's crappy, get him out. Those people have also got to have the credit to say, do you know what, credit where credit's due. He deserves a bit of respect and he's performing. And Harry Winks is performing. There is no doubt. He looks like he's got a spring in his step. He seems happier. And he's been given the opportunity and he's taken it. And fair play to him. And right now, I wouldn't sell him for anything.
For anything?
For anything. Right now...
100 million?
Oh, look. Silly, I'm not liking this side of it. But obviously... When I say that, obviously, if 100 million comes in, you're saying it. But I mean, out of all those players right now, he has definitely warranted his place.
And everyone says, we need a more creative player, and I still agree with that. But some of his passes, especially against in the last couple of games, have really opened up defences. And against Southampton for the goal, which was ruled out, what a peach of a ball over the top to Harry Kane.
Yep.
And he was the only one, it seemed, who was able to play a pass which was. Causing havoc in the Southampton defence and Liverpool as well in the back line. So maybe he's getting that passing range back, because he used to be a very decent passer, but he never used to do passes that really hurt the opposition.
Yep.
But now he's maybe now Conte's coming in. He's maybe not showing him, but he's trying to get him to pass in those directions a bit more. And maybe that's what's needed for him to take his game to another level.
Without that, I mean, John Cooper used to call him, and I loved it, SpongeBob SquarePass.
Yeah.
I used to call him Sat-Nav because he'd reach 10 yards and he'd go, you'd reach your destination, and he would just pass it sideways. And he was known for not going forward, and he did have that, like we've seen it in the games with Madrid and at Barcelona in the Champions League runs, that he can do it. And so, even when I was doing the watch along here on the Vitesse game when he started and he came on, and people were like, oh my God, Harry Winks is running forward. Oh my God, he's passed. It was like a major thing, and he is capable of it. I just think his confidence had been lacking in it. As Stel said, he's been playing in the wrong position, and now he's playing in the position he can play. We're seeing what he can do. So for me, like I said, his passes have been incredible.
For me, I just can't believe we're sat here talking about Harry Winks being our kind of creative midfielder when you've got Ndombele, Lo Celso sat on the bench, and we're like, well, Harry Winks, he's the man, and you're like, really? But at the moment he's delivering, and that's all you can ask. However he's got there, whatever Conte's done with him is at the moment is working wonders.
Another super chat from Moondog says, Winks 2 good games. What about the other 60 odd games? He's been crap. Look, it's true. For the past couple years, let's be honest, he's not been very good. He's kind of not been playing with the confidence that we know but I think Winks is very much a bit like Bergwijn. When he's confident, he's a different player. When he's playing within himself, he's very much, he gets the ball safety first, backwards, sideways, as you say. But when he's confident, he takes the ball in his stride. He can dribble forward. He looks for that forward pass. And I think Conte has given Winks that confidence maybe to bring those elements back into his game. So, yeah, he has been poor for the last 60 games. But at least in these last 2, which he's showing us what level of performance he is capable of if you give him confidence.
He was in the last chance saloon, as we were saying. And you look at someone like Dele, who came on, and Liverpool immediately, because he had one good game, oh, he's back. And then obviously he reverted to type against Southampton. And then you look at Harry Winks, he's had 2 opportunities under the Conte regime, and obviously the couple of substitute appearances, but the 2 starts he's had, he's turned in arguably man of the match performances. So it's not just, oh, he's had a good game, he has had a major impact in these games. So that's where I say that obviously, yes, it's only 2 games, like Moondog said, out of 60, but 2 pretty much man of the match performances from being non-existent is a very good way to start.